Hi people, it is Kellen and I'm back for another review. Today I will be reviewing the Bornwear packer, which is a 2-in-1 packer and stroker. So I've had the Bornwear packer for just over a month, I think, the same as I was trialing out the Axolom Mini Fusion, and it's a really interesting product. I will probably actually start off with what I don't like and then go on to what I do like and compare it to the Axolom. So this is the packer, if it focuses at any point in time. As you can see, it is on the smaller size for a packer, and this packer comes in at 3.75 inches, so it is a little bit bigger marginally than the Axolom Mini Fusion, but not that much bigger. And it's actually, I've got the Axolom Mini Fusion here, it's actually a little bit lighter, and it is a little bit flatter. If you can see from their profiles, the Axolom Mini Fusion has bigger balls, and the Bornwear packer has really small balls actually. This is the petite version of the Bornwear packer, and so it is going to be a little bit smaller than the standard size, but based on photos and the measurements, the standard size doesn't actually look that much bigger than the petite. First impressions are that this packer would be really good if you are smaller, especially if you're looking for something that is, again, more proportional than a lot of packers out there on the market. What I don't like about this packer is that, to be honest, it's not the most attractive to look at. The balls especially, the shaft, to be honest, isn't bad. I like that there's little veins going on. I actually like that the silhouette of it is uncut, but the balls are not great. They are not at all realistic, and there's this bit where it hinges and I feel like it's gonna kind of snap. It doesn't, I mean, it hasn't snapped and I've worn it quite a lot, but yeah, the balls are not pretty, the balls are not great. Whereas obviously with the Axolom Mini Fusion, the balls are just a little bit more realistic, a little bit more, yeah, obviously they're a little bit more prominent, but they just look more realistic and yeah, just what I'd expect in terms of balls. But I think the advantage with the balls being so small is you do get that flatter silhouette. So if you're wanting something that is smaller, then this is smaller than the Axolom Mini Fusion, which I already thought was fairly proportional. So on to the stroker function of this packer. It comes with 3 options on Bornwear. So I think there's a flat option, a smaller hole option and a larger hole option. And I went for the larger one because I actually have a banana prosthetic stroker, which is a larger diameter than this one, and that works perfectly fine for me. Unfortunately though, I just can't seem to get the suction working on it for this one, and I think it might be because it's so much shorter. The actual inside of it ends here, whereas obviously in the strokers banana prosthetics, the part that can suction onto you is literally this long, so you've got plenty of gap to actually create that suction. This one, I tried it and it's just not working. It does actually suction onto my thumb a little bit, but even then it kind of pops out. So I'm not sure if it's because on bananas prosthetics, for example, you've got the ridges inside are a little bit more prominent, so I feel like they grip a lot better, whereas on the Bornwear, the ridges inside are actually quite small, so I don't think I'm getting the grip that I would on the banana prosthetic ones, which I've used really successfully. I really like them. So for stroking purposes, I would not recommend this really. I think if you're looking for a stroker, definitely get a stroker rather than going for this one. But I think if you downsize, it could probably work for you. But as a specific stroker, definitely not the one. The other thing that I don't particularly like about the packet is the colour. And so Bornwear is a trans-owned company, and it's just one guy making all of their products. They actually don't have their products available to buy all the time because they have a kind of buying, ordering phase and then a making phase. And the owner of the company really kindly said that they'd send me this out for free for doing like a review, and said that I could choose the option of either selecting a colour on their colour scheme, or he could hand pick a colour for me and photo skin tone match it. So I sent a photo of my forearm and my inner thigh, and he came up with this colour. And to be honest, it's too light for me. Like obviously in this lighting, my forearm looks a lot lighter than the Bornwear packer, but it's way too light for me. In comparison to the Axolom Mini Fusion that I was like, this is a alright colour. The Axolom Mini Fusion is a lot like redder, it's a lot more tan. This looks really, really anemic on me, so I'm not a fan of the colour. It's not super bad, it's just like the wrong tone. And compared to this Axolom product that they actually sent me for free, it's not actually been released yet, it is new and upcoming. This is probably like the perfect colour for me, whereas compared to this, it just doesn't come anywhere close in terms of colour. If this can be a warning to you, select your own colour and go darker, and consider just the colour variation that occurs naturally, and the redness, the warmth, the everything that goes into that. Excuse me. What I do actually really like about this packet is just the size of it, just the ease that it packs with. It fits into my underwear really well, and it's better to wear in non-packing underwear than my Axolom Mini Fusion. I was trying to wear this thing without any specific packing gear, and it started doing flips, whereas I can quite happily wear this and walk around with it, and it pretty much stays put. Like, it might shift a little bit, but that's quite natural. I feel like that creates quite a natural look. And for the most part, it is very, very subtle. It is probably subtler than the Axolom Mini Fusion because it is so flush. Quite often I like that. I like the feel of having something there, but it just not being like a prominent bulge. So this has actually replaced my Axolom Mini Fusion for what I wear day to day. I find myself reaching for this more than the Axolom Mini Fusion, and I think that says quite a lot. So if the colour was better for me, I think it would probably be one of, if not my favourite packer. In terms of pricing, it's basically on a par with the Axolom Mini Fusion because it's, it just fell on the floor. It is $30, I believe. $30, let me just check that. Okay, so the Axolom Mini Fusion is $32, this is $35, so there's not really much in between it at all, and you are supporting a small independent trans-owned company when you buy this thing, rather than Axolom, who is very trans-inclusive, obviously, but they're actually not trans-owned, and they are a little larger. But yeah, the packaging, the postage was really good for this thing. It did take a little bit longer, obviously, because it is made by one person, but I didn't really mind waiting just like that little bit longer for it to be custom made. So all in all, this is a really great packer. I would definitely recommend it for anyone looking for that proportional, smaller size packer. It isn't hyper realistic, and depending on what colour you choose, you might be really happy with it, or it might be slightly off, as I found it's slightly off for me. But as a affordable packer where you're supporting a trans-owned company, it's really great. And yeah, as I've said before, it has actually replaced the Axolom as my most reached for packer these days. So this is the Bornwear packer in just on the ass underwear, no specific packing gear at all. This is the Bornwear packer in an Axolom jug. This is in some denims. And finally in those grey joggers that I wore for the last Axolom review. So there you have it, there are my thoughts on the Bornwear packer. I would be half tempted to actually get this packer again in a colour that feels more affirming for me, that feels a little bit more realistic. But to be honest, it doesn't really bother me too much because most of the time I'm just shoving it in my underwear or in a packing strap. So as packers go, it does its job really well. And yeah, I hope this review again was useful. If you have any questions, DM me on social media at CullenBacon. Alright, I'll be back for another review soon, and until next time, I hope you stay euphoric. Bye!